Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace and blessings, love and light, and welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond. I'm a minister, spiritual life coach, I am a holistic nutritionist, author, and founder of Redefining You LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. And welcome to the show. If this is your first time joining us on the How Now podcast, welcome in. Make sure that you go to my website, www.hownowpodcast.com, and be sure to pick your favorite podcast platform where you can like, follow, share, and subscribe. You can also scroll to the bottom of the page and click on this week's show banner, and it'll take you to the How Now YouTube channel where you can like, follow, share, and subscribe there as well. And make sure you check out my playlist. I've got some great ones. I've got my Tuesday scripture verse for the week. Make sure you check those out and check out some of my prior shows. We've been going almost 4 years strong. So make sure that you tune in. Again, like, follow, share, and subscribe. And again, that's www.hownowpodcast.com. Now let's get into this evening's show, which is going to be talking about functional nutrition. And my guest is no stranger to the show. She actually joined us back in 2021, back when we were still, a fledgling show getting things going. And it is so wonderful to have her here. Her show has been in replay in the past as well, because she had shared some information about our bodies being a temple. So I'm excited to have her back. And of course, as is customary with the How Now podcast, I'm going to have her introduce herself at this time. Take it away, my friend.
Well, first, Kim, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me back. It is truly a pleasure and a blessing to be back.
Awesome.
And my name is Janet Young, and I am a holistic nutrition specialist. And I've been on this mission since the 70s to help people live healthier lives. And it's born out of my passion to provide people with information, because people really do have choices if they have proper information. And so in 2007, I started the Natural Pathway LLC to provide people with practical information that would empower them to make healthier lifestyle choices and changes. I am, as you were given all your titles, I am, like I said, a holistic nutrition specialist, natural health educator, a nutrition instructor, wellness consultant, health coach, writer, and speaker. And I love all of it.
Yes, I love it. Again, like I said, I'm so glad to have you back on the show. You shared some wonderful and insightful information the last time you were here. So, of course, I want to start there with what's been going on since you've been on the show last. Now, that was back in 2021. So, we've gone through the throes of a pandemic, and we've seen people coming out and making different lifestyle changes. So, what are some things that have changed since the last time you were on the show?
Well, actually, life happened. And I actually put the natural pathway on hiatus because I was a full-time caregiver for my mother. And it was during that time that I learned, even though it was a challenge, I truly learned what I was made of. And I was able to do things that I didn't think I was able to do. But one of the things that I learned in the process was that it's okay to ask for help.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't until I got help that I realized how much I needed help. And so when I finally had home health and hospice come in, when I asked my daughters for their help, if I hadn't had all of those resources, I wouldn't have been able to make it through. Again, I'm thankful for the opportunity, and I call it an opportunity because there was no option that my mother would go to a nursing home. That was never a consideration. And um, it was just hard, particularly that last month. She passed away in December of 2022. And that last month was extremely difficult because I just saw her get progressively weaker and weaker, and I saw dementia take over. And that was difficult. But again, with the resources, especially the hospice resources, they prepared me and my daughters for what was happening and what was going to come next. And that made the transition a lot easier to handle. Plus, she was 97 years old.
Yeah.
So, up until, the last several months of her life, she had a decent quality of life. And I hope I inherit those genes.
All right, right. I bet. And that's like you said, it's amazing how things happen. The one thing that has been my mantra for this year so far is talking about toolboxes and talking about being prepared for things as they happen, on a spiritual, physical, and mental vein. It's difficult when things happen. And sometimes we have the tools, like you said, you have many titles and you have many things that you have experienced as a healthcare provider. And then here it is, even sometimes when we have the tools, we still need to ask for help on how to best use them. And so I love that you bring that up and that you talk about that, and speak about it so openly because we can have all of the preparation or some of the knowledge and the wisdom and still may not know how to use the tools. Just like we said, we have I
Absolutely.
say this on all of mine. I said we have in my car, I have a tire iron and I have my spare tire. I may not know how to put it on. I may need help
Right,
and I have to be able to
right.
ask for that help. I do know how to do it now, but I had to ask for help at one point. So, things are going
Absolutely.
to happen. Like you said, life is going to take its pivots and turns, but at the same time, we may have the tools and we have to be willing to ask for help when we need to, because it's like you said, no man is an island. We cannot do it by ourselves. So, well, thank you so much for sharing that aspect of what's been going on since the last time you were with us. And again, my condolences on the loss of your mom.
Thank you.
And I just always pray that her legacy be celebrated and that it always be
Absolutely.
honored and remembered. So, that's
Absolutely.
awesome. That's awesome. But like you said, you were talking about taking a hiatus with the business for a while, and then what caused you to amp things back up again?
Well, actually, I had this void, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I do with this next chapter of my life? And I was on Facebook one day and I saw some information about the Functional Nutrition Alliance, and that piqued my interest and the training course that they offered. And so, first part of me, of course, said, "You're too old to learn. You're too old to go back to school." And then I said, the more I learned about what they offered, it's like, this is a perfect complement for what the natural pathway was already doing because their approach was also holistic. And it's like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And I decided to make an investment in myself and in my business. And so since last August, I've been on this journey studying functional nutrition. And in a few more months, I will become a certified functional nutrition counselor. And
Awesome.
yes, it is an accomplishment, but it also, I'm so excited to share what I've learned because it's like, people need to know this. People need to know this because I was late to the party. Okay. Functional medicine has been around since the 90s, I guess. I just found out about it. But when I found out, I was so excited. It's like, I want to tell everybody about it. So again, I'm happy that you're giving me an opportunity to spread the word.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what wonderful platforms like these are for. Just, to pique people's interest and to say, okay, this is something I have not heard about. And I definitely want to, figure out what's going on with that. And I mean, we're all in different stages. One thing I always say, you learn from your womb to your tomb. So there's that you're
Yeah.
always today years old learning something that you didn't know. And
Yeah.
it's like you said, when our interests are piqued and we feel that little inkling inside of us that says, hey, this is something I want to pursue this. I want to know more about this, because as the old cliche says, when you know better, you do better. And
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
you know, and that's what happened with my weight loss journey, with things that are going on with us. The more we learn, the better we can be about being the better versions of ourselves because
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
learned something, we've left ourselves open to the possibility of learning something new. And just like you said, it may not be new, and it's been around for a while, but it's new to us. And so it's new to our listening audience. It's new to me. So I'm curious, I went to find out what goes on with my body. That's why I went and got my certification to be a holistic nutritionist because I wanted to know, what did that mean? What does that entail? and finding out that that is a holistic approach to, to how we take care of ourselves. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about what functional nutrition is. We hear about functional medicine. I've heard of that term before. Functional nutrition is something a little different.
Well, let me backtrack just a minute because you said learning allows us to become better versions of ourselves. And one of the main reasons that I went forward with the certification course is because it will allow me to become a better counselor. It will allow me to upgrade my skills and offer more to my clients than I previously was able to offer. And so that was the biggest contributing factor that, hey, I can become a better counselor, educator, what have you, because I have, again, more tools in the toolbox now.
That's right. I love that. I love that. That's so true. So like I said, talk to us a little bit about what functional nutrition is.
Well, let me give you a written down definition because I could go on forever in terms of different aspects of what functional nutrition
Awesome.
means. But the functional nutrition approach considers the interconnectedness of body systems and how food impacts a person's health and well-being. Again, it is a holistic approach that focuses on the total person, not just their symptoms or diagnosis. It focuses on why instead of what, and it connects the various dots of a person's life to get to the root cause of what ails them. And if I can just show this picture for a second,
Sure.
if you see this tree, if you visualize a tree or you look at this diagram, you see the leaves, you see the trunk, and you can see the roots. Okay.
Yes.
If you look at the leaves and branches, those are the symptoms and the diagnosis, but they're not the root cause. And so the difference between functional nutrition is, again, we see beyond the leaves and the branches, the symptoms and the diagnosis, and we piece together all the puzzles to dig deep to get to the root cause of what ails a person.
Yes, I love that. And
Now,
I'm good for a visual. I love that. So hopefully you'll all be able to see the visual as well. That's the beauty of this podcast here. It's also available on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it and see. And then as she can see, I've got this lovely tree behind me as well. So when she showed her
right.
tree, we're like, yes, we're on the
I love
tree.
it.
So
I
yes,
love it.
the tree of life. And just like you said, sometimes we see what's on the surface, and we don't see what's within, what's deep, what like you said is the root cause. And so I think that that's a wonderful analogy that you make, that we talk about that is not just what we see on the exterior, because we can look great on the outside and still feel like crap on the inside. And I mean, I'm going through a stage where that happened even with my weight loss. Everybody was like, oh, you look great, and that. I was like, but why do I feel like hot garbage on the inside? Because there's something else going on. It's just not the exterior that we need to be concerned with. It's like you said, that total body. So I love that you bring
Yeah.
that up. Yeah.
And one of the, or I should say, there are three basic premises that our instructor and founder of the Functional Nutrition Alliance, Andrea Nakayama, uses. And they are: one, everything is connected; two, we are all unique; and three, all things matter. Again,
Right.
everything is connected, we are all unique, and all things matter. So when you're using a functional nutrition approach, it's like building a puzzle.
Yes.
And first of all, you include the client in their care because they have the information. Your job is to get all the information from them and
Right.
piece it together, piece the puzzle together to get to the root cause. And there is no one size fits all quick fix band-aid approach in functional nutrition. And so we need to work with the client to get the information, to work out what we call a matrix. And then that's where we connect the dots and allow us to dig deeper to the root cause and come up with an individualized plan of action. We see all these commercials on TV about this medicine and this prescription and that, pill, potion, whatever. And it leads you to believe that everybody can use that particular product
Right.
and get the results that the commercial is advertising. But in fact, 20% of the population don't achieve the success that is being advertised. And if you listen closely to a lot of those commercials, they'll say results may vary.
Right.
Results may vary. Okay. That's because they do recognize that we are individuals and it may work for some people and it may not work for other people. Your sister and you may have the same condition, diagnosis, symptoms, what have you. You may achieve success and she won't because there are still other factors besides genetics and family histories, lifestyle, stressors, environmental factors. All of those things are put together to help us put the puzzle together for that particular individual. So that pretty much in a nutshell is what functional medicine, functional nutrition is all about.
Right.
Unfortunately, doctors are not trained in this, okay? And they don't practice bio individuality with their patients.
Right.
And they've been taught that there is one standard protocol that fits, you know, every particular diagnosis. Whatever the diagnosis is, here's the protocol, write the prescription, see you in 3 months, 6 months, what have you. And that's
Right.
it.
Right.
With functional nutrition, we start a journey and it's going to take a while. And I say that up front and I, get the buy-in to let people know because you're not going to get the quick fix. But if you stick with me, we'll get to the root cause.
Right. Right. And I think that's something that's vital. Like you said, we have to be able to tap in because what tends to happen, like you said, there's not a one size fit all approach. Your results, like you said, they may vary, or what happens is just like you were talking about with me. I have a sister. I'm 5'9". My sister's 5 feet. So
Mm,
we are not we
mm,
yes, we have the same we have the same parents, but there are differences in our body structure. She's shaped like the letter S. I was shaped like the letter P. She had all the curves and the hips and the bottom, and I just was straight up and down. My sister is my mom's child, and I am my dad's child. I look like him. I'm built like him. Everything. He's 6 feet. My mom is 5'4". So just like you said,
wow.
even within your own family, things are different, and so the results are not going to be the same. But we're taught in this society that everything is cookie cutter, and you're
Yeah,
supposed to look like this. You're supposed to look
yeah,
like, if I'm shaped like a letter P, now all of a sudden do I turn into a letter S? No matter how
right,
hard I try,
right.
unless I'm augmenting my body, I'm not going to have the hips and the rear end that my sister has. That's just not how I'm genetically built. So I have to make sure that I'm fashioning. If I'm using someone else as a marker, person has to have similar body structure and features to mine if I'm going to mimic what they look like. And so that right there doesn't make sense. If we're looking at magazines and we're saying, you know, one point I was full figured, but I still wasn't shapely, S shaped or Coke bottle shaped full figured. I was just round in the stomach. So, where was that representation at? So it's so easy for them to say, oh, well, you're going to look like this, and this is what the result is going to be. And no, it's not, because we're all, like you said, individuals. So we have to figure out what is that perfect, awesome sauce that's just for us, that's just specific to us. And once we get into that mindset, I think we see more success, because I think the failure comes when we compare ourselves to that other person who doesn't even have the same body structure as we have, and we're saying I'm supposed to look like that. You're never going to look like that.
And the other thing you mentioned, the word results. There's a saying I like to use that says to get results you've never gotten, you've got to do things you've never done. And that's what functional nutrition is about. It's that something different to give you different results.
Right. Because like you said, the definition of insanity is when you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
It's not going to
Absolutely.
happen, like you said, unless we do something different.
Right. Right. And you may get the results temporarily,
Hmm.
okay? But because you haven't gotten to the root cause, the condition or the symptoms may return. And then you're
Right.
just on this hamster wheel, okay? Spending time and money, more time and money than you want to admit,
Yeah.
going back and forth to different doctors, getting more frustrated. And a lot of people just don't know that they, again, like I said, they have another choice. Functional
Right.
nutrition provides that choice.
I love that, because what that says to me is long term. That says to me something that I can do on a consistent basis, not something I can do on a temporary one. And I mean, and that's where, even when I talk to my clients too, you ask them, what is the end result that you're looking for? You just
Hmm.
want to
Hmm.
do you just want to achieve you want to lose those 20 pounds so that you can fit into that dress for that
Hmm.
wedding or something like that. And then what are you going to do after that? Do you want to
Hmm.
continue after that, or do you just want to go back to eating donuts and ho-hos and everything else and just say
Right,
business as usual? Usual.
right,
Are you trying to make a lifestyle change, or are you just trying to accomplish this specific goal for this moment in time?
right.
And I think sometimes, we don't think they get there and they go, phew, I made it, I'm there. But what do you do once you get there? Or what's the
Exactly.
pathway to get there? And then, just like you said, do you want to be on that hamster wheel, or are you trying to get to a place where there's consistency, where it's something that's manageable that you can do over a lifetime, as opposed to just doing for a month or for a year, and then you fall back into that same cycle. So just like you said, it's important to get to that root, you know? So when we talk about that, talk about what kind of clients come to you, or what kind of people come to you when they're interested in, this aspect of their wellness journey, so to speak.
Well, like you said, a lot of people are coming for weight loss, but I'm finding, particularly among my age group, more people are dealing with chronic conditions. They're dealing with joint pain. They're
Yes.
dealing with digestive issues,
Yes.
a lot of things like that. And pretty much, again, if you connect the dots, a lot of those things, if not all of them, are rooted in inflammation, even diabetes,
Yes.
heart disease, cancer. And what's surprising, things like ADD, ADHD,
Hmm.
autism,
Hmm.
you might suspect MS, Parkinson's, things like that. Again, ADD, ADHD, and autism, how many people are making that connection? And instead, particularly the children, are being labeled as problems because nobody's bothering to get to the root cause. They're not looking at their diet. They're not looking at, you know, when I do X, Y happens. And so, again, in terms of putting all the pieces together, I always mention doing a food diary because you'd be surprised how just doing something as simple as a food diary will reveal so much
Mhm.
information that people, again, they don't connect. So, pretty much anybody that I see of all ages, but now I think my niche is people, the seniors my age, because we're beginning to deal with these symptoms, diseases, diagnosis,
Yes.
whether we want to or not. Okay.
Right,
I, I,
right.
I have started calling myself Rice Krispie because when I get up off the couch or out of the chair, I hear this snap, crackle, and pop. Okay. So it's like, okay, yes, I'm getting older, but I ain't getting old.
All right, that's it. That's it. Because years have passed. Okay, I'm gonna clock that. But just like you said, I'm not old. I want to be able to move and do things and enjoy a quality of life. And a lot of that, like you said, comes from being able to get beyond some of these chronic things that are going on. Of course, I am at that age. I am in perimenopause, and since my wellness journey and the weight loss and everything else, I was too big to notice how inflamed I was. Because when you're over 300 pounds or you're 250 pounds or whatever, sometimes you can't see the inflammation because I was already big. I didn't know when I lost weight and I looked down, I spent 2 weeks just sitting there looking down at my stomach. It was like, wow, your stomach goes out and then it goes back in. I had no idea. I had no idea. It wasn't anything that I experienced. I didn't look down and say, oh, I'm a little bigger today. I'm a little smaller today. I never noticed the inflammation, the bloating. All of these things were
Mm-hmm,
new
mm-hmm,
topics to me. And
mm-hmm,
now
mm-hmm,
I'm living those things in the middle of all these hormonal changes and everything else like that.
mm-hmm,
So I can imagine a
mm-hmm.
lot of people, and you said that are falling into our age range. It's just like, okay, there's some things going on. I do the same thing. Before I get out of that bed in the morning, I'm, wiggling my toes and my feet to make sure that when I get up, they don't go out from under me and I'm on that floor. So want to
Mhm,
make
mhm.
sure that everything is working. And so, yeah, you get to that place where you're like, okay, what's going on with this? Why all of a sudden am I not able to get rid of this bloating? Why am I retaining so much water? Why am I experiencing all these things? And then, like you said, you do that food log, and all of a sudden you find out, oh, it may be what I'm eating. And then when you start deciphering it, like you said, you got to get to the root. You have to get to the root because everything that's surface, if you don't start digging a little deeper, you're going to keep on experiencing the same things over and over again,
Absolutely, absolutely.
get out there. How do you break that? So
And
I love
again,
that.
it's a journey. It's
Yeah,
going to take a while, but if you invest in yourself, in your health, I mean, what's it worth to you to feel better, to have a better life?
hey, you're absolutely right. And I think about that even when you're going to your healthcare professional, or if you choose to go whichever route you choose to go, coaching or anything like that, to be able to ask questions, to be able to be open about the things that you're experiencing and you're feeling. And I think that's the thing sometimes, even in the African American society, people are, oh, it's okay. It was just a little, your arm has to practically be hanging off. Otherwise, you're like, before you go to the doctor, because you're like, I'm okay. It's just a little, if that it just happens when it rains or this or that. We have to be able to be honest with ourselves and what our symptoms are, and to be able to ask those follow-up questions. Because I think sometimes what happens is if you get to the doctor, I'm one of those people. If I've got a copay of $40, I'm gonna ask you $40 worth of questions.
I know
I'm
that's
gonna
right.
ask you because I need to know what's going on. And if you say, if I tell you I'm having a symptom or something is hurting, and you just say, oh well, that's okay. I don't want you to mask it. I want you to give me, tell me what I can do to make it better. Not just put a band-aid on it. And sometimes we see that in the health professions where they just, like you said, write your prescription and they're just like, off you go. But I want to know, okay, what can I do so that I can be offered this prescription?
Right,
So that I'm not
right.
living my life going every month to the pharmacy to go and pick up a prescription for something instead of finding out what the root cause is so that I can eliminate it altogether. That's my
And
goal.
mention
That's my
and
doctor's goal.
mentioning that prescription, okay, when that is the only recourse that a doctor is giving you,
Right.
we need to go back to the fact that we have ownership. We
Yes.
have a choice. And we were talking about this recently, but I, I found out recently that I had arthritis in my hands. And
Mm,
I went from, doctor to doctor, and one doctor immediately said it was arthritis without doing any testing. But the others, it took a while for them to come to that conclusion. But their only solution was for me to go on steroids. And it's like, no, I don't think I want to do that.
right.
So it was like, thank you very much. I went back to my chiropractor, and within a few visits, my hands were feeling better. The pain is gone. So
Right.
there are alternatives, and we have to be okay with making the choice to see someone else until we get, again, the answer that we're looking for, the solution
Right.
that we're looking for.
Right, right. And we understand sometimes that time is of the essence. And so you don't want something to get progressively worse before you act on it. But just like you said, going and asking the questions and seeking out those second opinions instead of just saying, okay, well, just go ahead and give me the prescription. I'll just go ahead and start paying on it and start taking it. Because sometimes, we're in this microwave society where we just want to feel better quick, but it's not a matter. If it took time for it to develop and to begin to get a little worse, it's going to take time for it to go in the opposite direction. So I think, like you said, we have to ask the questions. We have to be willing to get in tune with our bodies and say, okay, I notice that when I eat this, or I notice that when I do this, I'm experiencing this. Then I can
Right.
go and ask my professional or my medical professional or my counselor something to say, hey, when this happens, I notice that this happens. I notice that I have more energy if I don't eat as much sugar, or if I do this. It's being able to be open-minded enough to say, something is going on, and I want to do something different about it, but I want the results or to be long term. I don't want the quick fix. I want the long-term effects. Yes, I want the pain to go away. It hurts right now. I want the pain to go away right now. But what can I do over time so that this pain doesn't keep coming back?
Well, the other thing is, and again, going back to the commercials, um, again, the doctors, all they know to do, and it's not their fault that they were trained this way, but
Right.
they recommend, they prescribe medication. Medication has, it has side effects. And if you listen to a lot of those commercials, they'll mention the side effects. And the ones that really kill me are the ones that say blah, 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 and death. And it's like,
Right.
what they say?
Right. Right. Right.
Why would you take something that could possibly cause your death?
Yes.
So we need to become more informed.
Yes.
Like you said, Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you do better.
That's right.
And so
That's right.
that's why I still am passionate about what I do,
Yeah.
because I am really tired of us being a statistic in our community
Yeah.
and thinking, like you said, oh, well, it runs in my family. There's nothing I can do. Or what am I supposed to do?
Right. Right. Or even if it doesn't work, to speak up and say it doesn't work.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was on the medication and it was continuously giving me yeast infections. I'm not going
Mm,
to keep on taking that
mm,
medicine, and they were
hmm
just like, well, maybe we'll change dose. No, no. I
hmm
said, maybe we'll find something else to take because I'm not going to take something that's going to cause another issue,
Exactly. Exactly.
so that we can resolve that one. No, again, I'm getting to that place where no, let's figure out what we can do to eliminate this problem altogether, but not create additional symptoms for something else.
Right.
I don't want to be in that vein. I want to be able to go to my doctor and say, this is how I'm feeling. When I take this is not working for me because we're not lab rats and we're not, I'm not,
Right.
unless I've signed up to be part of a study, I'm not going to
hmm
take something that's going to continue to harm me, even if it's in a different way, even if it's alleviating pain for that side effect is not something that I'm willing to take on. So
Right.
what else do you have? And just like you said,
Exactly.
if it's not your physician, then like you said, you went to your chiropractor. Then let me go to another professional. Let me go to a specialist who may be able to tell me something. And that doesn't always mean that their information is right. And I'm not knocking the medical profession at all because
Exactly.
you want to
Exactly.
be able to have a diagnosis for what it is that you have. But then when we start talking about the treatment, okay, you've given me the information that I need. Now I'm going to
hmm
go over here and see what my
hmm
alternatives are with regards to how we're going to treat it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We
So
have
that
to empower ourselves.
absolutely, absolutely. So like you said, it's a process for your clients when they come and they initially go in and is there something that you have them do initially to start gathering that information? Like do they fill out a questionnaire or do
Oh
they
yeah.
do a
Yeah.
log and all these other things?
There is an extensive assessment, intake form, intake assessment. And I actually have taken the 20-page assessment from the Functional Nutrition Alliance and cut it down to five, basically 5 pages, because I know average person is not going to fill out 20 or 30
Right,
pages. Okay. I
right,
don't care how much we can connect the dots from that information.
right.
So first of all, I do an initial assessment to let them know what functional nutrition is, what to expect from me, and what they're looking for, as you mentioned, their goals, and to determine if it's a good fit, if it's a good
Yeah,
match. And then if
yeah,
they, if I get the buy-in from them, then the next time is when in between time, I will give them the intake form, ask them to complete it and send it back to me. And that's when I will start connecting the dots, developing the matrix, and seeing, okay, what do I do in terms of helping them understand what the root cause is?
right. So now with some of them, you know, is some of it like a nutrition plan? Is some of it, like we said, because we talk about different aspects. So, is it, like you said, just the food, or is it also some lifestyle changes that they may need to
It's
make
all
as
of it.
well?
It's all of it.
Um,
But again, because people want something, and even though everybody is a unique individual, there are some basics we can do in the meantime while we're trying to get to the root cause, in addition to keeping the food diary. It still goes back to the basics in terms of eating whole foods, eat the rainbow. We say food is medicine. Also, you are what you eat. Well, actually, you are what your body does with what you eat. So if
Exactly.
again, when I was on before, we talked about the building blocks to nutrition, and that part hasn't changed. Okay,
Right.
regardless of what the diagnosis and the symptoms are, pretty much it's still the basic information. Colorful, eating whole foods, as I said, fresh foods, eliminating the refined sugars. For a lot of
Yes.
us, it's eliminating gluten and dairy, going back to arthritis. And in terms of trying to avoid the pain, not only was, my chiropractor successful in getting rid of the pain for me, but to maintain that, I had to change my diet. Okay.
Mm,
I became the student. And so I noticed when I did get rid of the refined sugar, the white sugar, when I got rid of gluten, not just wheat, but gluten and
mhm.
dairy, I stopped having the pain. And
Wow.
I didn't think I could live without my ice cream and my cheese.
Okay. Okay.
And I also, turmeric is my friend. I put turmeric in everything.
Right.
Turmeric and ginger and garlic and all of those things are anti-inflammatory. So those are
Mm,
pretty basic to pretty much anybody who's dealing with inflammation. And as I said, most of what people are dealing with is rooted in inflammation. But then
yes.
we have to look at, once we analyze the food diary, for instance, are we seeing food sensitivities or food intolerances that
Mm,
we need to address, allergies and what have you? So that's when it becomes more bio-individual. But the basic information about nutrition, pretty much across the board, will apply to, everybody while we're trying to work out their specific plan of action.
gotcha. Gotcha. And then you said with that also, do you discuss like exercise and moving
Oh,
your
yeah,
body, walking,
absolutely.
movement, things like
Yeah.
that?
In terms of going back to the matrix that I developed based upon the information that they gave me, there are like three particular sections.
Right.
And the first section on the left side of the matrix has to do with, your lifestyle and your genetics and what have you. And then the middle is what they call the soup or the story or what have you. And so that's where you're really looking at, okay, the bigger picture. And then on the right, we have things like exercise and stress management and relaxation and all those other things. So it all fits together. And again, holistic, mind, body, and spirit. So
Yes.
it definitely is the approach that we follow.
I love that. I love that because it people don't realize how much, just like you say, even with stress management, how much stress affects the body, how much sleep affects the body,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
all of those things. And when they're out of whack, you're just like you don't realize it. You just think, well, I just need to change my diet. It's not just the food, even
And
though
that's
that is
that's very
foundational.
important. That's
Yeah,
very, very important, especially the part about sleep. Because a lot of times people say, oh, I only need, 5 hours of sleep or, whatever. But how is your body running on that 5 hours? You need at least seven hours, no more, no less. But a
right,
lot of people have gotten used to less sleep and think that that's okay. And you think you can function well, but what is it doing to your body systems?
right,
And that's what we don't understand, why sleep is so important. Another thing that, people don't really want to talk about, but their elimination. How good is their elimination?
right,
Okay. If you are not having regular bowel movements, there's something wrong. That's a red
right,
flag right there.
right,
How much water are you drinking? Things like that. And
right.
also people will say, well, I eat a pretty healthy diet. And then you look at their food diary and it's like, okay, your definition of healthy diet and mine are different.
Right. It's different. It's
Yeah.
different. And I mean, just like you said, the sleep, just like you said, the diet. Think about also how fast people eat. Think about that. You
You
got
know
people
what?
who
I'm
have
I'm
that
glad you said that.
30-minute lunch break, and so they're just like, yeah, 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 yeah. So by the
Yeah,
time your body even register that you've eaten, you done ate so fast that you're going in and now you're snacking on everything because your brain hasn't said you're full because you're like this trying to get like you really only have 20 minutes to eat out of that 10 minutes or 15 minutes to eat. It's not
right.
enough.
But I'm glad you mentioned that because that's another pretty much across the board recommendation that I can make for people in terms of if you just do something as simple as slow down and chew your food well, you will not suffer the bloating and the gas and the other problems that you just accept as routine.
Right.
And it's really amazing how doing something that simple, again, slowing down, taking smaller bites, and chewing well can improve your digestion
Yes.
very quickly,
Yes, because you're
very
sending
quickly.
chunks of food down your undigested food down, I mean, unchewed food down and your body is having to work harder to break it down.
And that's just it. When you do slow down, chew your food well, you're starting the process of digestion in your mouth
Yeah,
by having the saliva, increase as you're chewing and swallowing, and it makes the process of digestion easier.
yeah. Just like you said,
And
it's
a
the
lot of people
little
don't
thing.
realize that.
Yeah,
But again, as you said, a lot of us, we're on a 20, 30-minute lunch break. That's not enough to really
it's
sit down and enjoy your food or to expect good digestion. So we
right,
have to
right,
come up with something different,
right. Or more easier or easily digested food
like a
over.
smoothie or something, smoothie
Right,
or a
right.
salad.
Something like that, because just like you said, when you start talking about hamburgers and meatloaf and that you had from last night, and you trying to wolf it down in 30 minutes, your body's gonna be like,
Yeah,
that's not gonna
yeah,
work. So I mean,
yeah,
just like
yeah.
you said, there are so many aspects to functional nutrition and so many aspects to consider. It's just getting people to not get in that place of analysis paralysis or to get into that place of overwhelm where it's too much information, so I'm just not going to do anything. I'm just going to go
Right,
ahead and eat these
right,
french fries and have this shake because it's fast, it's quick, it's
right,
easy.
right.
And we just have to, it's definitely about mindset and
Well,
how
also as a
we.
population, we're
Yeah.
paying the price
Oh yeah.
for those food choices. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, some of that is being catered to particular communities, which
Yeah.
is the unfortunate part. And also
Yeah.
people who live in food deserts face the biggest challenge. And so that's
Yeah.
something we as a society have to fix because that's unacceptable.
Yeah, yeah, but it just goes to show that it's not just sometimes it's being a product of the environment, like you said, that we're in. We're in a food
Mm-hmm,
desert, or we're in places where we don't have access to certain
mm-hmm,
things that we need,
mm-hmm,
and we have to, that plays into the condition that we're all in at this point. We talk about blue zones and different
mm-hmm,
areas of the world where
mm-hmm.
people are thriving and living far beyond their years, and it's because they have exposure, and it's not just the food, it's their lifestyles as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
When you have
Exactly.
people who have hiatuses and they have time to have leisurely meals, they're not sitting
Yeah.
there punching a clock to eat in 30 minutes or less, or trying to down a bag of chips in 15 minutes for your little 15-minute break. It's definitely something that needs to be considered on an environmental and global level too, to make sure, like you said, that we all have access, and that we don't have limited access to the things that we have, or even if we have access to the better choices,
Right.
if because I
Right.
know that certain areas of the world, certain things don't grow, certain things are limited. I think about a trip that I made recently to San Juan, and I was looking at the prices of dairy, and I was like, why is it so high? And they're just like, because the cows cannot produce the milk and things that they can on a level, year round, the way they can in other areas. And it's like, I didn't
Mm-hmm,
consider that. But
mm-hmm,
all of
mm-hmm,
these things have to be taken into consideration when we talk about
mm-hmm.
ourselves as a whole, that our
Right.
environment is a part of that. Like you said, our digestion is a part. There are so many aspects. Like you said, we can go on and on for days about the different aspects of what functional nutrition is, but it's wonderful to have that starting block, that starting point.
But it's also important, again, when I am developing that individualized plan of action, I have to take all those things into account. Otherwise, I'm recommending something that's not practical that the person isn't probably going to follow through with. Okay. And so I have to, ask them, do you live in a food desert? Are you able to afford what I'm recommending?
Right.
Okay. And so again, that's when environment becomes a very big part of the picture. And
Yeah.
we don't talk enough about it, but we are seeing the results of these issues,
Yeah. Like you said, it's
especially
definitely,
among our children.
yes. We have to tap it. We have to be honest. Like you said, we have to be able to be careful about how we recommend things because, I can tell somebody, oh, well, just do jumping jacks or do, people say, oh, well, what do you do? Or what kind of exercise have you done? If I don't know anything about your back, your knees, how your body works. Can you squat? Some
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can't,
yeah, yeah,
can you incorporate weights? Is that something that you can do?
right,
Do you have issues with your joints and things like that? You have to ask those questions before you make the recommendation because all people can't do everything that you're doing. If I gave people a
right,
laundry list of things that I do, they may be like, I can't do that, and that would deter them from even
yeah,
trying because they'd be
right,
like,
right,
no, I can't do it. That's too much. Just like you said, it's about everything being connected, everything being unique, and that all things matter. I love those 3 points that you make because all of those things are going to be, that you are to be instrumental in your success. If we don't take those things into consideration, like you said, we're sending people down a rabbit hole, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's not like you said, and we said it a couple of times already, it is not a one size fits all. But we have to be willing to ask for the help. But we have to be able to provide those things that are going to help as well.
yes, yeah. And again,
You
people
know?
have to know that there are other options.
Yeah, yeah. My thing is I can't ask you to come and put a spare tire on my car or, fix my flat if I don't have a spare tire. How you gonna do that? You're just gonna pull
Yeah,
one out of your pocket?
yeah,
So
yeah,
when we talk about toolboxes and things like that, what tools do we have that are going to assist in that?
right.
I can't have you come to my house and put up or fix my toilet to ask a friend to do it if I have no plunger, if I don't have the tools that I need.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
we have to get to that place of preparation and realize that it's more than just like you said, it's more than just the surface. It's more than just the branches and leaves. It's those
Yeah,
roots
yeah,
too. It's
yeah.
those roots
And the other
too.
thing, it's incumbent upon me as a provider to continue to learn. And
Yes.
that's why I, again, made the investment in myself because not only is it going to help me be better, but help me to serve better. And things change. And we need to stay updated on the latest, not just the latest, greatest, but what can we do? How can we do our job better? How
Right.
can we
Right.
offer more to our clients?
Right. Right. Okay. So for people, as we're wrapping things up, for people that are interested in functional nutrition and trying to, embark on that wellness journey, what is a recommendation that you can give them for getting started?
Well, in terms of seeing me, definitely.
I like
I
that.
can start. And right now, the first consultation is free. And that's the consultation where we see, are we a good match? And again, I get the buy-in and let them know that this is going to be a journey, a process. It's not a quick fix. And, they are a partner with me because they do have the key answer. They have the key information for us together to, provide the answer to
Right.
the solutions, find the solutions that they've been seeking. And so that's what I'm there for. And, they can check out my website to see more about who I am, what I do, why I do it. And I am finally, I'm going to come out with my book this year. I promise
Yes.
you, I
This
promise
year.
myself. But I realized God knew what he was doing when he didn't let me finish and publish that book because he knew
That's
I
it.
had more to learn and
That's
there's
it.
more that I want to put in the book. And I'll be able to, leave that as a text for everybody. So if
Yes.
they don't remember something, I said, okay, they can go look in the book.
That's
But
right.
the book is for the general population, not just people that I will be taking on as clients.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so give us your contact information so that way people know where to get in contact with you to start the process.
Well, again, they can go to my website, have a new website, which is on Linktree, and it's
Okay.
LINK the natural pathway, or they could just go to Linktree and type in the natural pathway LLC. It's important to
Gotcha.
add that LLC because there are other natural pathways out there.
Gotcha. So they can
And
do
they can,
I'm sorry, they could do Linktree. So linktr.ee / the natural pathway.
right, right.
Okay.
But if they went to Linktree by itself, they would have to put in the natural
Put it
pathway
down.
LLC. And they can also follow me on Facebook or on LinkedIn.
Okay. And is that under your name? Under Janet
Yes, or
Young?
the natural pathway or Janet Young, either one.
Okay. The natural pathway. Okay. That way we can do that. And of course, that will be in the description for the show on how people can get in contact with you and be able to connect with you and learn more about, like you said, this functional nutrition approach and starting the process. So again, I thank you for being with us and for coming back on again and sharing this new aspect of what it is that you're doing. I wish you the best in that, knowing that you'll have your certification in that and that you're making strides to be a better provider. So that way we're helping people to become better versions of themselves. So
Right.
I thank you for that.
And
And
I thank you.
yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you
yeah.
so much for
My
being an
pleasure.
advocate and being a fellow holistic specialist.
Yes, yeah, but it starts from within. And I
Yes,
think that it's important that people, advocate for their health. We have to advocate for ourselves and
yes,
not just always go by what's told to us, but to respond to how we're feeling,
yes,
respond to things that we're seeing that are progressive in our body. So one thing I think it's important to leave with people is to, listen to your body,
yes, yes,
respond to it, listen to it, and respond accordingly. Don't
yes,
just, say, it's nothing. Oh, it'll go away. What if it doesn't? You
yeah,
know, we
yeah,
we have to we have to advocate for ourselves. We have to ask for those second opinions. Like you said, everything is connected. We are all unique, and all things matter. Okay.
and don't
Now,
just stop at the signs or the symptoms because
yes, I
those are
love that.
actually the red flags. They're not the end all be all.
Yeah.
So be willing to dig deeper. And that's what I'm there for.
All right. You heard it here. You heard it here. Dig deeper. Ask the questions. Ask for help. Okay. Now, one thing that I always ask, and I asked you this the last time that you were with me, is what are you doing to live in the now? What are you doing to navigate in this space that we're in now?
Well, I won't say the one thing, a lot of things, but I first of all start my day with devotion. I read two different devotionals, in fact, and I still do my energy sessions with Ron Ampey twice a week. And as you know, just started doing yoga in the park with our friend Leslie Cole, which
Yeah,
I'm
shout out
excited
to
about.
Leslie. Yes.
And I still walk my dog, even though he's now 15. The walks have gotten a little shorter, but still get out of the house
Yes.
because of him. And the
Mm,
main thing is I stopped doing mindless things. I didn't realize how much time I was wasting watching TV, watching, every newscast that came on and watching
mm,
reruns of shows that I could recite the dialogue to because I had seen them that many times. Okay. And
right.
instead, take the time to do more research that's going to benefit me and my business.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It's just a matter how things change. Our responses to things change because just like I said at the end of most of my shows, what's happening now is not what's going to be happening 2 minutes, 2 weeks, 2 hours, or 2 years from
Right.
now.
Right.
We're always in a state of evolving and changing, and it's a matter of being open to the possibilities that
Yeah.
there are new things that are going to come our way,
Yes.
and how we
Yes.
respond to them, overreacting to them, are going to make us, you know, more palatable, not just to ourselves, but to others too.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can get caught up in the vacuums of things that are going on, and that doesn't help with our health as well. So it's
Not at all.
important that we take time, like you said, to feed and nourish ourselves and to, you know, create platforms like this for people to learn something different and to tap into things that we may not normally be exposed to. So again, I thank you for taking time to come and to be here with me one more time, for being my friend, for the lovely reconnections. Those are what makes
Absolutely.
things beautiful. We just pick up where we left off.
There you
That's what
go.
family does.
That's right.
Sounds
And
good.
I thank you for, like you said, providing this platform.
Awesome, awesome. And
I
know that
love
you are
you.
always, I love you too, darling. And know that you are always welcome back anytime. Because like I said, things things change. What's happening now is not what's going to be happening in just a few minutes from now. So
That's right.
always know that you're welcome back. You're a part of the How Now family, and we're always happy to have you. So
Thank you.
with that, are there any other parting words that you want to leave our listeners before we go?
Uh, to quote the Pointer Sisters, I got a new attitude. All right.
Hey, she said, have a new attitude, okay? If you're not ready, get ready. Okay. All right, my darling. And that will do it for this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. And until I see you the next time, I'll say peace.